Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Anime Dude podcast. My name is Riley, and with me we have the incredible, the wonderful, the one and only.
Oh, you flatter me, sir. But I go by the simple name of Bjorvio. By the way, if any of you can spell that correctly without cheating, I'm really curious. Please let me know.
I wouldn't have. I think I started by calling you Bjorvio, but Bjorvio is such a cool name.
That's the most common name I get, honestly, and I'm okay with that.
Mhm. Well, it's good. It's really, really good. And I'm very happy to be back. Like I always say, this is a highlight of my week. And talking with you is amazing. But talking with you about My Hero Academia or about All Might is a new level. It's a new level. It can't be explained in words. I mean, I suppose maybe a couple of words plus ultra. That's probably the only words that can be explained in. But no, yeah, I love it. I love it. And this week we have a really, really exciting few episodes to talk about. But before we get into that, we just wanted to thank you, everyone, for an incredible feedback, the incredible feedback that we've got over the past little bit. We do this because we love talking to one another, and just getting 1, 2 listeners is amazing, but getting feedback from people is really, really special. So please keep the feedback up, send it through to us, send through your improv ideas, and rate and review and share the show around. That would be amazing as well.
Amazing, amazing, amazing.
So what are we talking about today, Bjorvio?
So, we left off on an epic conclusion last week where we were talking about the hero training arc, and I feel like we didn't get to one part that we're going to start with tonight. And we're going to go to, well, stay to the end of the podcast and you'll find out what part we stop at.
Cool. Exciting, exciting. And now this arc, I mean, we previously spoke about Bakugo being taken by the villains, and obviously Midoriya had his butt kicked, and they get spoken to by a dog to stop doing the stuff. And Todoroki has a great one-liner. I know we said it in the last episode, but what was the line again? Do you remember the line he says? That joke?
Oh, gosh. I just remember him saying, "Is that a dog?"
Yeah, is that a dog? But he says, probably the funniest. He says, they should call me the handbreaker or the hand destroyer,
The hand crusher.
the hand crusher. Yeah. Every time I'm involved, someone's hand ends up getting hurt because what? Ida and that was might be the older.
And
Oh, that was the older. I'm talking about something else. But yeah. Then obviously Bakugo gets taken away, and what happens next, Bjorvio?
so after Bjorvio, wow, wrong B name. After Bakugo gets taken, we have this real underrated scene where Midori is diving for him and he's like, "Kachan," he's like, "Stay back, Deku." Like, I think that's a great aspect of their friendship that really doesn't get explored much. And then we have the whole class basically like, that the whole fight kind of goes away at that point because there's no more villains. And so everyone's getting healed. They're in the hospital and they start coming up with a plan to get Bakugo back. And that's when things start getting interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And obviously, what Momo Yaoyorozu brings out is that she put one of those trackers on the Nomus, which was a very intelligent move, and All Might standing there in his giant form with his and they're talking to her about getting the location. But do you think now? Obviously, Froppy and a few others believe they shouldn't have gone after Bakugo themselves. What's your opinion on that?
Completely wholeheartedly disagree because if they hadn't have gone after Bakugo, two things definitely would have happened. Number one, Bakugo would have been in All Might's way. And that means All Might can't go all out later on. And number two, Bakugo, who's going to save him? What's going to happen to him at that point? I mean, Shigaraki, I don't remember if he'd given the order to take out Bakugo. I don't think he did, but he was at least, or maybe he did. I don't remember. But either way, at that point, he was kind of a little bit disposable to the league if he wasn't going to join. So I think I understand where Froppy's coming from with her. Guys, this is dangerous. Leave it to the pros, that whole thing. But at the same time, looking at it from a future perspective, if not Class 1A, then who?
Yeah. Yes, so true. They know Bakugo best. Obviously, they didn't have their provisional hero licenses at that time. So, but they weren't going to engage the enemy anyway. But I suppose, yeah, I think me and you, if one of our friends was taken, we would do the same thing. Just go there, scout it out, try to get a good understanding of what's gone on and where they are and how we can be of help. Now, sorry, what would you? Apologies for that. What do you think of their wonderful outfits?
I love their outfits. I love how they try and change up their personalities to go with it. Deku's like this, are you talking to me? You talking to me over here? And, just Ida's this, we are a couple of people walking around the streets, I don't know if you've seen the blooper reel, but in the blooper reel, Ida says something along the lines of, we are just a couple of people scrounging the streets for chicks. And I love that line.
It's so good.
It's fantastic. But no, I think their costumes, fit them well. I like that each one kind of represented a different hero, like Deku represented Present Mike, which is a little strange choice for him, but and I don't remember who everyone else went after, but just the fact that they kind of used that as inspiration, that was cool. That was cool. And they looked, ridiculous, but also cool at the same time.
They looked, ridiculously cool. And obviously Momo gives away that she could make these clothes, but she likes shopping a bit more. And they obviously they fit in with the crowd quite well. And then they get hit to the right spot. They almost get attacked by a couple of drunk people. And I think Irate goes
That's when
up.
they find the building with the Nomu.
Yeah, and Irate looks through the window and she's shocked, and you see the Nomu in that window, and that is terrifying. That would be a terrifying.
I think
sight.
It was Kirishima that
it was
that saw him in there
because he has his night vision goggles.
Yeah,
true, and that's real special that he bought those, even though they were very expensive. And he looks through that window and he sees them, and that would be a terrifying sight for sure. And then it cuts to Bakugo, doesn't it? Of them. Did you have any doubt in your mind that Bakugo was going to join the League of Villains? Did you think about that at all, or what was your thought process there?
No, I 100% thought Bakugo would join the League of Villains. It was just, that's who his character was set up to be. And I felt like that's what they were portraying Bakugo to be from the very beginning. And then to see him be like, you're idiots for thinking that way. It's like, is he talking to the league or the viewers or both? I don't know. Kind of both. And so that kind of stung a little bit, if we're being honest. But I do enjoy, I like the fact that it showed that Kachan's not evil. And this is the start of when we start to develop him truly as a character. I'm not gonna lie, I love Kachan so much. Starting from, and this is the moment that made me be like, there's something more to this guy, and I want to learn more.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this really, truly, because I was like, I could see him being a main villain against Deku. I can see him jumping on the League and turning evil, wanting to be the better than All Might in that way. But he always wanted to be a hero. And just when they were about to take him out, someone knocks the door. Pizza delivery. All Might comes rushing in with Woody Boy and a few other of those pro heroes, and they lock down the situation. And that's a cool moment, is it not?
It is, and this is the introduction of one of my favorite heroes in this series, who the anime does not give enough screen time to, and that's Edgeshot. I
Mm.
adore Edgeshot so stinking much.
That's actually very true. He's got a cool quirk, and
Right?
he's a cool guy. And you're right. He needs to show up more. I'm annoyed about it. Why wasn't he in the most recent season 6?
I mean, he was a little bit, but like kind of because he led one of the strike teams, but he didn't really, other than for like an episode or two, he didn't really do all that much, which is such a shame because seriously, he's so stinking cool.
He really is. He really, really is. And then All Might's having this cool. I love the look on his face, and Chris Sabat did it so freaking well as a voice actor. But looking and saying, you know, he didn't. Well, it wasn't smiling at that time, but he was like, "Where is, what did he say? Where is the boss, or where is he?" And being angry about it, and then they start vomiting, or their mouth opens up, and that gross stuff encompasses the people. The music changes. I love the music in the scene. I think it's like the villain music pumps up. All for One's main theme. All those villains get out of there, and Bakugo as well. So that's a terrifying moment, and then seeing it cuts to the Nomu factory once again,
Yep.
and seeing that shadowy figure move forward. What was your thought process when all of this was happening?
So at first I see All for One kind of there, and I'm like, he's this guy that people say like, oh, he's the demon lord, whatever, we don't really, he doesn't seem all that powerful at this point in time. And then he wrecks house, Mount Lady, best genus goes down and bears the scars of that encounter for the rest of the series. With him, I think he is completely missing one lung now or something.
Yeah,
And we see Best Genus, who has this incredible quirk. He uses it, and All for One's just like, nah. And like just the look on the students of Class 1A, they're like, no, this dude's real. Like they're too scared to even move. At that point, I'm like, that's how you introduce the big bad.
that you're so true. That's such a great introduction, and the fear in Midoriya and their eyes, and the way the music's played. It was a really, really good entry of the main villain, and then All Might showing up, hitting him, and the sort of, I thought to myself, I know this guy's strong, but come on, All Might's All Might. And then the initial hit, I was like, oh, all right, this is the real deal. Things are going to go down. And that was quite intense. And I'd say probably this is probably my greatest fight in the whole series. I know I've said it before about other fights, but I think rewatching it over the past couple of days has made me appreciate how incredible this fight actually was. Do you agree?
I'm going to go on a little bit of the story here. I remember what I was doing, where I was, whole 9 yards when I saw this fight for the first time. My wife and I had been married for about a year. She was still working nights sometimes, so I was watching My Hero. I was supposed to be studying for a test, but little break here and there. And we get to the One for All versus All for One fight, and this thing starts going, and I'm a huge All Might fan to like Midoriya level. So I'm sitting here like, all right, we get to see All Might go all out. And the way that this fight starts was like, oh crud, we're in trouble. And the fight continued on. And for second after second, it got worse and worse. And I remember literally sitting on the edge of my seat, almost in tears, just like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And I'll finish the story a little later, but I kind of want to stop there for now and just be like, is that what it was like? Surely I can't be the only one that was just sitting there, just like, come on, All Might, come on, All Might, come on, All Might.
Agreed. I was the same. I was on the edge of my seat, and I think it was just me watching at the time, not my daughter yet, but yeah, shouting at the screen. My wife thought I was crazy, and she could be right. She could be right. But you're right. You're shouting, "Come on, All Might, you've got this!" And then the children, the students. That's a cool story, knowing exactly where you are. I don't know exactly where I was, but the students obviously coming up with a little bit of a plan, or Midoriya coming up with a little bit of a plan. I love the plan. I love the way he decides that Red Riot was the only one that Bakugo would put his hand down to, and the way they want to escape, and the way Todoroki makes that ice wall. Ida powers them up, gets them over the line. They shout out to Bakugo. He explodes, reaches up. What does he say?
He says something just really short. I think it's just, Bakugo, come here, or something like that.
Yeah, and then
that's
Bakugo,
all it took.
Bakugo says, "It's about damn time," or something like that, doesn't he?
Something like that. Like, about time you losers got here.
Yeah. He does. And then they get away, which is amazing. And then All Might can go all out, which we find out is not necessarily enough. Now, moving into the next step, what's your thought process going on to the final stages of this incredible fight?
All right. Well, this is my favorite fight in the anime. This is one of my favorite fights in all of anime. And to finish off the story, the scene where All Might officially loses, like not loses, but like you see him in his skinny form with that big hulking arm, doing everything he can to protect that one person. And it's like, dude, you just screwed yourself over. You can't win at this point. That's what I thought. And I'm like, he's gonna die. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's gonna die. And I kept thinking that over and over. Even when the other pro heroes showed up, like I completely forgot that heroes like Endeavor and everyone showed up and they're trying to help and they're effectively useless. Like, that's crazy to me. I mean, think about that. I mean, every other hero that showed up that's on the top 10, it's useless. Like, think about what that would imply if that was in a real world situation.
That's actually a really good point. They could not help. They could not even go close to him because of the amount of power emanating from them too. And obviously they could help by getting the people away, blah, blah, blah. But, oh, flip, what a moment when All For One, All Might comes in with a big punch. All For One transports Gran Torino out and All Might punches him in the face. I was like, what the heck? That was such an evil move. But obviously that, and then All For One giving away the truth about Shigaraki. Did you see that coming?
Yes. No, I did not see that coming. And it was like, I know that Horikoshi, the mangaka of, I almost said the anime dads, but we're not an actual anime, of My Hero Academia, is a big Star Wars fan. And that's what it felt like to me at the time was, a scene ripped out of Star Wars, and which is my favorite franchise of all time. So I'm sitting here like, oh, well, this is a cool callback, but what?
So true. And he does it at the right time to get under All Might's skin, and it works. And then it flashes back to what happened to All Might's successor, and that's a sad, very sad moment. Obviously, he got under his previous successor's skin, and he won the fight and he
Yep.
killed him. And All Might obviously got away at that point as well, um,
Yeah.
which is unique. But yeah, a very sad. But luckily, Gran Turismo chucks in some words of encouragement. And All Might hears behind him. Oh no, he changes into his weak form, doesn't he? And everyone sees that weak
Yeah.
form of his.
That was a devastating moment.
Oh,
I mean, at that point, you really felt like it was over. Like, why is All Might still? I mean, why is All Might still here? He can't beat him in his weak form. What's he gonna do? Talk him down? Like, no, this I literally thought this is the death of All Might. And I'm convinced I had started mourning him already.
I was the same. I actually got goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps so many times throughout this conversation, but I was the same, and I almost started mourning him as well because I was like, "There's no way." Unfortunately, we've seen it happen too many times. He's gonna die. He's gonna die, and I'm not sure if it was. This was after All Might said to Deku that he was gonna die in a devastating way. Is that right? No, no, before.
No, this is before.
Yeah, yeah, and terrifying situation. Seeing All Might stand there in his weakened body, bloodied and beaten. And the woman, he's about to basically give up. And then the woman behind him shouts, "You can do it, All Might! Come
Please
on, you
don't
can
give
do it!"
up. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, please
Yeah.
don't give up. And then Deku shouts it, and Bakugo shouts it with tears in their eyes. They're still backing their symbol of peace, even though they know that it's not, that something's happened to him. It's not truly him. They're still backing him and having his back. I think that's a goosebump moment in itself, is it not?
It is. And that was the moment that I kind of started tearing up because at that point you realize that people haven't given up on their hero just because he's in his weaker form.
Mm-hmm.
He is still their hero. And it's like he said in the Nomu fight, where he said, a real hero will always find a way for justice to prevail. And this is that moment where I kind of got a flashback to that. And I'm like, I don't know how he's going to do it, but this is All Might. And then we see his arm get buff, and you're like, he's not giving up. He will fight with anything he has left.
And then the special moment. What does he say? Give it to us, Bjorvio. Let's see if Zoom doesn't cut out with this one. Could you give
I might
us?
turn away a little bit, but
Yeah,
so I won't be on camera for a second. But
that's fine. Give us the
this is
United
where
States of Smash.
it's where he starts off. He gets that speech from Nana Shimura that empowers him, and then he goes in. He goes, "Goodbye, all for one, United States of Smash." And then ends it with the goodbye, one for all.
Awesome. Awesome. Goosebumps again. That's fantastic. The smash cut out, but that was amazing. That was amazing. And what a moment. What a moment. Did you stand up and shout when that happened?
So my dog was sitting on my lap, and I was having him. Once I saw All Might charged in, I had picked him up and put him to my side in anticipation of this is gonna be something amazing. And when I stood up, there are tears just flowing down my face. And the fact that it was named United States of Smash was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. This shows this is my ultimate move. I get one shot, so I'm putting everything I got into it. And let's be honest, the effects were awesome. The visuals were stunning. And the look of sheer terror on All for One's face. I mean, just imagine All Might is about to punch you in the freaking cement. I would be utterly terrified.
That's actually true. That's the first probably full emotion that we've seen from him. The terror in his eyes. And I loved it. And then All Might, even though he was shattered, he was bloody beaten. His secret was out of the world. He was destroyed physically. He'd just given his absolute all. He gets into his big form, puts his hand up, and stands there as the symbol of peace. How amazing was that?
Absolutely stunning. All Might. I'm not typically a fan of what a lot of people would say, like Boy Scout heroes, like Superman or Captain America. Like, I respect them without them being in my top 10 or anything. Maybe, okay, top 10 is a little much, but top 5. But All Might, in that moment, secured for me, like, he is the number one hero. He is one of my favorite heroes in all of literature. Like, he overcame literal and what I considered to be impossible odds and stood there victor. Like, it wasn't enough just to destroy All for One. It was enough to stand up and show the world it's over. I'm done, but that's okay because we won.
Mm, so good. And then I suppose we can finish off with you pointing to the screen. Could you point to the screen and give us a now it's your turn?
Does he say now it's your turn or now? No, it doesn't. It is now your turn. Gotta make sure I'm pointing in the
There
right
we go.
direction.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn.
Awesome. I love that. And that was, again, very special. And Bakugo figured out something was up. It wasn't just saying it's your turn as the villain, to the villains. It was saying it to Deku, and Deku knew the weight on his shoulders at that point was enormous. It was enormous.
And the way that they did that, like, it wasn't a Bakugo looking at him saying, "Oh, I figured it out." It wasn't some big obvious thing that only Bakugo saw. It was Deku starts crying and Bakugo goes, Like, I thought that was handled beautifully. And then it gets rediscovered just not even that much later, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But oh man, like, I it's one of this whole, the rest of the arc is not one of my favorite arcs, like it, but this fight, man, this fight and what happens afterwards as a result, All Might's actions, they're just, I don't know how one could sit there and watch this and not be like, even get goosebumps or moved or challenged even to, it's just such a powerful scene.
It is. It is truly so, and that's probably a good spot to finish up, and then next week we can talk about. I mean, we got invested a lot in that particular moment, but what a moment to be invested in and to talk about, to fanboy about. We're fanboys, that's for sure.
For sure.
But that moment is pivotal in the series. It is pivotal in Deku and All Might's life, and it was pivotal in my life and Bjorvio's life as well. So it's very, very special. And if you, I know you, people listening have seen it, but if you want to feel something again, and something's missing in your life, or you feel sad one morning, chuck it on. It'll make you happy. It makes us happy.
I also recommend, while you're watching it, just out of the spirit of All Might, squeeze your butt cheeks together and yell smash from the depths of your heart. It makes the scene so much better.
I love that. I didn't squeeze my butt cheek. I'm gonna do it, actually. I'll do it after this. I'll jump in and give it a go. But
little known fact, every time I do my All Might impersonation, that's what I do.
Squeeze your butt cheeks.
I mean, apparently that's how you're supposed to use One for All.
That's so true. That is really, really true. We don't have time for any improv scenes in this particular episode, but I think we had enough of the incredibleness of the whole arc, or all the moments. I think we covered it nicely. But could you maybe, in All Might's voice, Take us out, Bjorvio.
Young boys and girls, people from all over the world, thank you for listening today. It truly meant a lot to me. You're all heroes in my eyes. If you like what you're listening to at the Anime Dudes, please give us a rating on Spotify. We would greatly appreciate it. And, of course, stay tuned for next week's episode. After I, the symbol of peace, have officially retired, what's going to happen in the series? Stay tuned, stay strong, and stay awesome, my friends. And go beyond! Let's Ultra!